Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who tunes in and enjoys my video content and enjoys listening to my thoughts on video games and everything. It's greatly appreciated. And today on the channel we're going to be looking at a game that I was pretty much on the fence about because there was quite a lot of bad press out there about the game when it first came out, which, yeah, fine, maybe I paid attention to it too much myself, but it just happens with the internet. But I've decided to pick up Gotham Knights when it was 54% off the other week, which equated to it costing £30 down from 65 or whatever. And I picked it up and I thought, sod it, I'll give it a go. Now, we're going to talk about the negatives about the game first, and then we'll talk about the things I think are really good about the game. Now, everybody harped on about the fact that there was FPS issues. Now, yeah, fine, maybe there is some FPS issues in the game, and they're basically based around when you're travelling on the bat cycle really quickly through through Gotham City, or you're flying really fast through and jumping like Billy O across the city. Like, generally there is some hanging with the frame cam. Sometimes you can even bloody see it, but apart from that, I had no issues with the frames at all. It was perfectly fine. Like, the FPS, not an issue really in combat. You could have 20 odd people around you and it'd be smooth as butter. It would be perfect, right? Yeah, fine. I suppose a lot of people want it to be 60, but it was probably only running at 30. I am, it don't really bother me. I was fine. It doesn't feel like one of them games where, you need it to be heavy on the FPS, because it's not about timing and precision and all that type of stuff. It's just an action game. But, that aside, those issues weren't as bad as everybody tried to make them out to be. Now, some of the other things around the game that made me a little bit annoyed was, like, the game starts and it basically tells you the ending, which is kind of annoying. Obviously you've got to go through it and listen to the story and then figure out how the hell that all happened, but it kind of tells you what happened straight away. Well, fine, whatever. But, okay, so there's that. Now, also there's the fact that I completed the whole entire game, platinumed, and all the DLC 100% to the end. Did all of the DLC that's been released so far. All as just Batgirl. Now, I was hoping, really, that you could had some way of incorporating, oh, you have to do this mission as Nightwing, or you have to do this mission as Robin, because otherwise you just played a Batgirl game, which is basically what I did. It's called Gotham Knights, whatever, but I didn't do, literally, there's one trophy for you having played as all 4 characters. You didn't actually have to use them, you just had to play as them. The whole rest of the game I played as Batgirl, which, might as well just, so it might as well just be called a Batgirl game in my head. I suppose people out there who played it as Robin for the whole entire game might just think that it's a Robin game, because, like, there's nothing really compelling you to play as any of the characters at all. Like, I kind of just picked Batgirl because I had a Batman game and it's Batgirl, so whatever. But, like, it just really quite annoyed me that it wasn't kind of forced upon you that these missions or this part of the mission could only be done by a certain character. Like, you'd think back to some older games, like, you can only go in this area, in this room, to get this collectible as X person, but in also the same area you can only go into this room here as Y person to get this other collectible. It would have had more replayability that way by making it so that certain areas can only be unlocked or played as other people, like in Lego games, really. Now, with that part aside, which is it's quite a big gripe, I suppose, because I kind of feel annoyed with myself. I didn't switch characters and play as them and do some missions, especially as I've now finished and 100% of the game. So that's quite a heavy issue for me in general. Now, the story line is very good. The side stories are very good. The Clayface one and the Court of Owls one, there's 4 different side stories. And I actually feel the side stories were slightly better than the mainline story. I really enjoyed the Clayface sub-storyline. It was really well done. But the gameplay and the action playing as Batgirl is obviously it's really good. It's smooth. Like you get all the different upgrades. I heard a lot of people saying that there's issues with general upgrading of the different weapons or suits and this, that, and the other. But to be honest, I had nothing like that. It was just perfectly, it was as long as you're playing the game and enjoying it. Most of it just gradually happens and you don't even realise it. I don't really, I didn't get a sense of grinding at all in that realm, if that makes sense. The only grindy bit really was one of the trophies, which was kill 25 of the stupid. There's like 4 or 5 different. I think it's 3 actually. Sorry, of these random creatures, and they're only in certain areas, and you got to do 25 of one, 10 of the other, and 15 of the other, and that was a bit annoying because you don't get to see them very often. But like apart from that, most of the trophies were fine. I thought one of them that was stop 250 crimes in Gotham City was going to be a bit of a grind. It just happened. Just like ping, didn't really realise that I had done it. Like those are the general issues of the game, though. For me, overall, I really enjoyed the game. I'm not going to sit here and platinum a game and I'm not enjoying it. I'm going to turn it off and say, "Sod that, I'm moving on to something else." So personally, I think this game is very good. I went from being like around a 7, then went up to like the 9 because I was thinking, God, this is really good. It's a 9. But the thing is now I'm reflecting after having finished it totally. I'd probably place it around the 8.5 type of areas for the scores, and that's with my issues included. But generally, the game's so fun and so good, and I could sit and replay it as all the different characters. It's just that it'd be nice to have some trophies to do that. Finish it as Batman. Sorry, finish it as Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood. Finish it as each different character. I think that'd be quite a cool extra. You could have had different endings, for God's sakes, if you completed it as each different character. I think they really missed the shot there for me personally. They could have made the game so much bigger in longevity for replayability by incorporating. You can only do this with X person, and that was it. I would still probably be playing it now if they'd done that, because I literally would have played it again as one of the other characters. But now, because I've platinumed it and I've 100%ed it, I've got no real compelling reason to go back and play it and take them again. I mean, I could pick it up on Xbox and do it all again, but what's the point of doing that? It seems to really have missed the mark in that area for me. But gameplay-wise and just general action adventure game, it's absolutely perfect. It's knocked everything out of the park, really. The storyline's good. The side stories are all good, if not probably better, as I said, than the mainline story. The combat's perfect. It's smooth. Everything's responsive. Spot on. The upgrading of the skill tree works perfectly fine. No issues there at all. Pretty much, it's a bunch of different collectibles which all just are perfectly easy enough to find. Like your normal game. It has a lot of reminiscence of how the Spider-Man game is, which might come across a little bit weird because some people said, "Oh, Spider-Man copied the Batman games," and now basically a Batman game copies some bits of Spider-Man. Not that I really care about that. The game's really fun, but you see what I mean by the fact that if you enjoyed that type of game, you're probably going to enjoy this. It's just probably not quite as good as I was wanting it to be. As I said, I'd probably give it an 8.5, and like I say, I might have said a few of the negatives here, but overall the game's very good. And to answer my question, was it worth the 30 quid at 54% off? Damn right it was worth 30 quid. I wouldn't say it was worth 65, because I think that was a little bit steep. But, even if it had been dropped to 50, I'd have probably picked it up, because for the amount of gameplay to the hours I've used, and you know, I've definitely had my value for money's worth. And at £30 that I paid for it, it was a bargain, and I would advise anybody to buy it at that type of price, because it's just it is a very good game and it's worth buying. Anyway, I'll catch you all on the next one, and goodbye.
Now I can get a close